Namaste. Welcome back to Share, a knowledge sharing session on investment and shares. We have seen the investment in shares is maybe affected by many risks. Risks are inevitable in the share markets. So we have to deal with the risk and to mitigate the risk to make our profit maximum or to maximize our returns. So today we will see what are the major risks associated with the investment in shares. Economic risk is the major risk which will affect your investment to a great extent. Economic risk is the risk which can happen due to the macroeconomic factors in the country. In the economy, the macroeconomic factors play a very vital role in deciding the share prices. We have to understand the economy, we have to understand the political stability of the country, we have to understand the government policies, the changes in the government policies, and which is the emerging sector in the industry or in the market or in the economy, and what are the projects which a government aid is going, and which are the sectors where the government is giving a thrust for the growth of the country. These are the sectors where the returns will be maximum, and we have to select those shares and those companies which are very good and having a good reputation. We can reduce this risk of the economic risk by selecting good companies which will always try to cope up with the government policies and with the change in the economic scenario. Another risk is the risk of inflation. When the consumer price index goes up, the share price may go down if the resources and the raw materials for the industry is connected to the consumer price index. We have to select the shares where the influence of the consumer price index should be less. We have to select the companies and the sector and diversify the investment to mitigate this risk. Another risk is the market value risk. You purchase a good share and suddenly the price is going down without any reason, and the market is going behind a new hot thing, and the industry will be performing well and the company will be performing well, but the share price may go down. In this situation, you can invest more because this change in the price may not be for a long time. For a long time investor, some of the long time investors will make it as an opportunity to acquire more shares, so that this market value effect will reverse after a certain period of time. But by diversifying the investment, if your investment duration is less or your plan is to have a small duration investment, then you have to diversify your investment so that the market value risk will be mitigated. Another major risk in the investment market is the obsolescence risk. As and when the technology improves, the cost of a product the manufacturing cost of the product will reduce. So the new technology will come into the market. The product which is made out of the new technology or the product having the latest technology will get more market, will be purchased by the customers. So if the company, like management of that company, should be dynamic to watch the market and accept the changes in the market, accept the new technology, and to reduce the production cost or to update the technology and enhance the product features. You have to select the companies which have a dynamic management which responds to the market requirements quickly. Then your risk in this sector is reduced. The risk is reduced. Another risk is the liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is possible when there is nobody to purchase your share. So liquidity risk can be reduced or even eliminated by selecting good shares. If you select the shares from the Nifty or from the Sensex 30 shares, there will not be any liquidity risk, because these shares are selected in such a way that they are market leaders and their shares are always having a demand. So liquidity risk can be totally eliminated or can be mitigated to a very good extent by selecting good company shares, which the companies which are performing very well and the market leaders of the sector. But it will not give you much return, but you have to select the companies with a proper growth strategy. Another risk which will affect the company and your investment is the currency rate. If the firm which you are invested is purchasing the raw material from some foreign country, then the price fluctuation, the currency fluctuation on that country will affect the market price, the raw material price, and that will have a reflection on the profitability of the company. The same will happen when your product sells, when the company product is having market in some foreign countries where the currency is fluctuating. Then the currency fluctuation in the selling country or from the country where the raw material is purchased will have an impact on your company profitability. So you have to select a company which will have less exposure or which will have better mitigation methods to adjust with the currency fluctuations. This will be solved by, or this can be mitigated by selecting a good company with a proper management. Another risk with the investment in shares is the global risk. So many things are happening around the world, and some of the effects may have a good or bad impact on your selected company, selected shares. You have to watch the global situation and you have to select the company which is having less exposure to the problematic area of the world or to the problematic issues of the world. Sometimes the pandemic or epidemic may also can affect your company which is in India, and the situation of the pandemic or epidemic may be in some other place, but it may have a global impact. So by selecting the company and selecting the sector, you can reduce this risk. Another risk is the business specific risk. See, some of the sectors like industries which are dealing with the radioactive materials or mining, aviation industry, they have their own specific risk in that area. Safety to the passengers or safety to the stakeholders of the industry, that will also have an impact on your share value. When the company is capable and dealing with the risk and mitigating the risk to a very high level, then that company will produce more returns, and there you can, if your risk appetite is too high, you can invest in those shares. But as a moderate investor, if you want to reduce the risk, reduce the exposure to those sectors where the business specific risks are more. You can see you consider the industry where the mining is done and the mining is having some generating some radioactive effect in that area, then there will be a risk for that company. This will have another effect, that is a legislative effect. That is also a risk where the government may come with more stringent conditions to do the mining or do the business in explosive, do the business in the poisonous, where the raw materials are so poisonous and have a threat to the employees and to the public around that company. So these type of risk can be mitigated by selecting the proper industry and selecting the correct company which have more safety precautions and which have more sophisticated technology to deal with the dangers. These companies will have more profitability, and these companies can be selected if your risk appetite is too high. Or we can select some other sectors and some other firms so that your exposure to that company is totally removed or eliminated. So your risk can be eliminated or mitigated. We will see what are the major methods or what are the things which we have to study in detail to understand the economy and to understand the company and how the health of the company, all those things in another session. Thank you. Namaste.